What's up? Customers for life. Gonna do this new thing, CFL, customers for life, coffee for life. So as I drink my coffee, which I typically do right about between 9 and 9:30 in the morning, I'm just gonna jam on some customers for life stuff that is top of mind. And so 3 to 5 days a week, I probably won't make it every single day. I'm gonna come and talk about the biggest paradigm shifts necessary and how to get beyond them and through them if you want to scale your business, because there's a lot of reasons business doesn't scale, and it's almost never actually tactical, and that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest like paradigm shift I want is people will try 45 different programs and they'll hit the same ceiling over and over and over, because it's typically not tactical, especially not if you're really good at what you do. Okay. So I'm going to just go live and talk about that stuff for customers for life buyers. So if you have bought customers for life, you're definitely seeing this. You might see this one because I think this one is public. But moving forward, they're all going to be for buyers only. So if you go to earncustomersforlife.com, buy the book, it's like $6. You'll get an invite to the community and you get to have customers for life, coffee for life. Starbucks is typically the go-to. It's got to be, unless you know somebody that makes really good coffee, then you gotta go to Starbucks. So here's what happens all the time. Great service providers. Well, let me see here. I think I froze. That's all right. Great service providers, what they tend to do is get clients on accident. They really do. Maybe sometimes it's yoga, sometimes it's fitness, sometimes it's just business consulting. And what happens is people come and they're like, hey, can you do this for me? You're really good at this. You explain this really well. Can you help me with this? And we pick up a few clients, or there's people that you could charge, but you haven't because you're not thinking of yourself as a business yet. And then we say, you know what? I'm going to turn this into a business. People are paying me for this. And as soon as we become intentional about making money, all of a sudden, it's really hard to get clients. This happens all the time. Really hard to get clients all of a sudden. So I got 5 clients on accident without trying. And now that I'm trying, I can't get any. Common. Very, very common. In fact, the better you are at what you do, the more common that's going to be. And it's not a mystery. Okay. So let me give you an example. Tesla. Now, obviously, they were intentional. They launched the Model S. Okay. They launched out the Model S. They had their buyers. A lot of people, a lot of early adopters, a lot of innovators. They had their buyers. They did not then write a sales page, run a tripwire, build a webinar to sell more Model S's, because they understand what I'm about to tell you. Same with the very first cell phone that was like this big and $5,000 and didn't really like fit in your car. They didn't just run a bunch of ads to that model. And here's why. The Model S, the first cell phone, the first computer, any technology, there are always early adopters and innovators that are willing to buy. They'll pay a little bit more, and what they trust is your competence. They want to know, are you competent? And they're typically pretty smart, so they can discern whether or not you are competent at this particular thing. Once they recognize that you're competent and they trust you, what happens? My new camera keeps getting disconnected here. What happens is they want you to do it for them. Totally normal. But here's what all companies that have scaled know, right? It's this concept called the fusion of innovations, which means the mass market is not going to buy the same way early adopters and innovators do. They never have, they never will. So likely, if you're really good at what you do, you speak above the mass market, and that's okay. But, and this is why Customers for Life was built, when I say something, if I said something like, oh yeah, it'll totally like bring down your A1C, and that and that eliminates uncertainty. So if you say, hey Nick, why would I do this? I say, oh, it'll lower your A1C. You'll become a little more sensitive to insulin. And if you say, oh, that makes perfect sense, thank you, that piece of data was information. It took the gap of uncertainty and it made it smaller. Now you trust me and you will buy stuff from me, right? Now the problem is, if I walk into a random Burger King full of people and I say, hey guys, I know how to lower your A1C, that will probably widen the gap of uncertainty because they don't know what that is. They don't know what that means. They don't really understand that mechanism. Like, how would that happen, right? So I have widened the gap of uncertainty. So it is not information, it is innovation. Hopefully that makes sense. We can say a thing, right? Like boil your water before you drink it. That makes sense. And we can do that. And we trust this person if we know what microbes are. If we don't even know what bacteria and microbes are, why would we make our water hot before we drink it, right? So what's happening is competent people, great service providers, are saying things that make sense to a very small segment of the population, probably the population you surround yourself with, because you tend to surround yourself with people that are like you. Like attracts like. So in your world, you say things and it is information. And when you provide information, they trust you, right? Let me know if that makes sense. They trust you and they want to pay you to solve their problem because you're hanging out with your people and the things that are coming out of your mouth are information, not innovation. And then you say, I'm going to scale my business. I got 3 clients on accident. You know how great it's going to be when I actually try? And you go join a webinar program or you go join a marketing program. And what happens is you just went from these people that are like you and you started trying to talk to people that aren't like you, mass market, whoever those Facebook ads are hitting, right? You are taking a message that is information to one crowd of people and you're moving it over, and now it's innovation. People don't actually buy innovation, right? They buy from Dr. Oz because they trust him. They know him. It's not that he's right. So you have a segment of people that want accurate information, precise information, and problem solved. Those are the people that you're talking to. They're around you. You use a similar language, right? You get some clients because what you're saying makes sense to them. You're taking their uncertainty and you're making it smaller. And then you say, I'm going to make YouTube videos. I'm going to run ads. I'm going to market. And instead of continuing to talk to the people that are like you, where what you say is information, you jump way too far into mass market or laggards, and you just can't sell them because everything you say to them is innovation. When you go, yeah, I could totally lower your A1C, and they go, what the hell is A1C? And they have to go Google it. You have caused confusion, right? Let me know if that makes sense. So customers for life it's built, right? It's not built to distill your message down into something new and hit people that aren't like you, right? It is built primarily, if you already have traffic that's running, customers for life will blow it up. But if you don't, you can create a concentric growth by eliminating uncertainty. That's all it is. Every step of the way, eliminate uncertainty. What most of you are doing is you think you validated your offer because you got 3 or 4 people to buy it, but those people know your language, right? So you say, cool, I'm going to scale this thing. And then everything you put out there creates more confusion, right? It creates more uncertainty than it eliminates. Let me know if that makes sense. So the whole reason that service providers, they typically jump into these like internet marketing programs because like the people in the world have said, hey, you should totally do this. Can I pay you for this? And they started thinking, I'm going to build a business, not realizing that just taking those 4 people, serving them and getting 1 referral. So now you have 5 and serving them and then getting another referral, maybe 2. So now you have 6 or 7. That is building a business. It really is. Going to mass market with something innovative is not. You're going to lose all of your money. So back to Tesla. What Tesla did was they launched a Model S to that innovative audience. Those people bought because the specs make sense. They like to spend money. They trust Elon Musk, whatever, right? What they didn't do, again, is just run a bunch of ads to the Model S. They created, okay, and just let me know if you're with me here. Just drop a comment. They created the Model 3. After a lot of the market see the Model S running around, right, driving around, they created the Model 3. It's a tiny pivot into an offer that makes more sense. They didn't take the Model S and try and shove down everybody's throat, which is what most people are doing when they get their first 10 clients, and then they try to shove that same offer down everybody else's throat. Doesn't make sense. Every technology has done that, right? We sold the first cell phones and the first TVs, whatever, to the innovators, the early adopters. And then we used that cash, economies of scale, reputation, social proof to create an offer that makes more sense for more of a mass market. And then we reinvented that again and again and again and again and again. Okay. That's not being taught. What most people are doing is saying, hey, I sold this to 4 or 5 people on accident. So if I try, like, effort is going to make the difference. I took like 0 steps and I got clients. So if I try, I'm going to get more. We've all heard it. You could take 1 step forward and 2 backwards, or 3 backwards, right? And that's what a lot of people are doing when they become intentional about scaling their business, is they're actually taking steps backwards. They're making it harder and harder and harder. It's not an effort thing, right? You take 20 steps backwards. I know you're willing to take 20 steps. I just heard a good friend of mine say something similar, and it really resonated. So primary reason, if you have gotten clients fairly easily before, and now no matter how hard you try, you can't, you have skipped too far on what's called the diffusion of innovation scale, which means you're talking to the wrong people, right? So it's all, people say the message, market, yada, 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 and that's fine. But it will be a faster path to learn how to talk to your people, okay? Learn how to talk to your people, then change everything about you to match a different segment of the market. Main reason being, 1, it's really hard to be someone other than yourself. 2, if you do succeed, you are going to build a business you hate where you cannot be yourself. This is like the dissonance. This is the hamster wheel that everybody is on. Like all these service providers, they're CPAs, they're nutritionists, they're PhDs, they're lawyers, they're great at what they do. They're yogis, whatever. And they're like, this is cool. I can do what I want. I can do what I love and make money. And as soon as they become intentional about making money, they pivot too far, and they can no longer do what they love because they have to do something that matches this segment of the market, which is silly. You don't have to. There's a massive market where you got your first couple clients on accident. There's a massive market there. The problem is most coaches, consultants, programs have this cookie cutter thing that goes to mass market. Like anything, right? Any quadratic equation, if you're familiar with math, quadratic equation has 2 answers. Okay, it has 2 answers. And the reason it has 2 answers, which kind of messes with some people's head, is there's a plus minus. There's a plus minus. So if you graph a quadratic equation, boom, it's a bell curve, which means if you do not know where you're at on the diffusion curve, and you are not intentional about talking to people a very particular way, not like a freaking marketer. Okay. If you build a webinar, I see this all the time. People build a webinar and it does well, and then it tanks, and they blame Facebook, and they blame the targeting, and they blame that people are poor. But if you said, hey, Nick, I'm going to launch this thing, this is what it looks like, and you asked me to project what the outcome was going to be, it would be a bell curve. It is going to go up level out and go down because it always, always, always does. Right? Hopefully that makes sense. There is a way around it, however, and that is really understanding where you sit on the diffusion curve and then understanding how to talk to this segment of the market, which is what Customers for Life is all about. It's about a concentric growth, right? You can run ads, it's great. But you've had success because people like you heard what you said and it made sense to them. So those people are like you. What we want to do is we want to bring them in, organic, ads, referrals, whatever, we want to bring them in and then speak to them in a way that they have success, which is number one. And then two, they bring in people like them. And they're maybe like half a degree removed from being like you. By the time they come in and you talk to them, now they're like you and you can sell them really, really easily. And then they bring people in and they bring people in and they bring people in, right? You cannot just continue to move along the diffusion scale with the same message or the same product or being yourself, right? Hopefully that makes sense. It's tough to watch people that, had a $50,000 month and then crickets after that. Totally normal though, because nothing's a straight line. And there's just math. Just do math. If you, let's say there's 2 million people. I'm just making up numbers here. Let's say there's 2 million people that are going to own cell phones, right? And so Apple, the iPhone, gets 10 and then 100 and then 1,000 and 10,000. At some point, if they get, right, the rate of adoption is going up. If they get 1 million people, they've got half the market. The rate of adoption cannot continue to go up. They've already got half the market, right? So you got to think about that stuff. Like there is no, at every single market share can go up, but rate of adoption will not, right? Does that make sense? Let me know. Drop in the comments. I'm here to chat with you guys. But rate of adoption cannot go up forever, right? If there are 2 million people that are going to buy cell phones and 1,000,001 bought this month, there is no way 1,000,002 can buy next month because there's not 1,000,002 people left, right? The rate of adoption cannot go up forever. And this is what we expect. This is what we're taught when we run webinars or do try, right? Like, cool, I got 10 this month. I'm going to get 15 next month. I'm going to get 20 the month after that. And then I'm going to get 50, then I'm going to get 100. And it doesn't work that way. That's why you have to retain people so that when you get them, they stay around forever. So you keep increase, right? Having an iPhone, I mean, they launch a new iPhone like every freaking day, but it's not about that. There's the rate of adoption, which is important, but what's more important is how long the users stay. Because once the whole world, let's say the whole entire world has only iPhones for some reason, they can't sell more iPhones. They cannot get, put a better way, they cannot get people that do not have an iPhone to get one. They have to keep them. That's how you keep your market share. And so the idea of just increasing rate of adoption every month, every year is ludicrous. It has never happened anywhere. And that's why we're stuck. That's why service providers are stuck, is they think they're just going to increase the rate of adoption by spending more money or working harder or whatever. But again, you can go 10 steps forward, 12 steps backwards. You worked really hard. You took 22 steps, but you're in a worse position than before. And this is what service providers are doing. So hopefully that resonates. If you have any questions, let me know. Drop in the comments. Happy to talk. Coffee for life. That's what I think about when I drink coffee. I just lined out a whole bunch of stuff for somebody. So as I'm caffeinating, I get all my good ideas. Any questions, let me know. If you want to be at Coffee for Life, I might do it tomorrow. It's tomorrow, Friday. I'll probably do it tomorrow on Saturday. Drop in, ask questions. All you have to do, go buy the book. If you already bought the book, you already get the invite, and we'll just jam on whatever you feel like jamming on, and then whatever questions come in, because I love the interaction. So that's it. Check in the comments. No comments. All right.